From headbanging Tom to Hong Kong Tom. How you doing today, Thomas?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, just as we were talking a little bit before we came on, what a difference a week makes. This time last week, I don't know if you could tell or not, but I had a migraine while we were doing the show. I know Tom knows, and I off to the right, I had a paper towel in my hand that was wet, just squeezing it, so that I could hold myself together and everything in quite literally. So this week I feel a ton better. We did all right with our picks last week, despite the fact that I wasn't feeling my Friday best. So hopefully today when I feel better, we'll have better picks as well. But it's a big weekend this weekend, Tom, in Hong Kong. Tell us about the events in Hong Kong and how important they are.
Well, I'm going to preface it by saying Hong Kong restricts their races. Most of their races, like the stakes races, are restricted to Hong Kong-based horses only. So if you're not stable there or congregate, you can't race. But they have foreign races like these that they allow entries from all over the world, and that's exactly what we've got, with the exception of the United States, which is interesting. There are no horses from here. There's some ones that have been bred here, but no entries. But we do have a really top contingent from Japan. Of course, the home team. We've got some from Australia, Dubai, and of course from Europe.
Yeah, it looks to me when I was going through the card, there's a lot of good races in here. It looks like there'll be some good opportunity to make some money. I know the last time we did Hong Kong, I got all excited when I woke up. Well, these races, first of all, let's kind of rewind a little bit. These races will be run tomorrow, right? Sunday. Hong Kong time or Saturday our time?
Well, they'll start Saturday our time.
Approximately what time our time Saturday?
10:30, 11 at night.
Okay.
Maybe a little earlier, because it's 13 hours difference. So if you can do a little quick math, you can figure out when the race will go off. Probably the first one that we're doing will go off at about, I'm going to say around midnight.
Midnight Central or Eastern?
Midnight Central.
Midnight Central. Okay, so midnight Central, Saturday night, Sunday morning, depending upon when you are. So the races
where you are in the world.
Yeah, so Sunday afternoon in Hong Kong, early Saturday morning, Sunday morning, or late Saturday night, early Sunday morning in the United States. Or if you're where Terry is, it's just a little after bedtime.
Yeah, it depends on when you go to bed.
So the last time we did this, I woke up on Sunday and went to go look to see how my picks did, and I saw I had a trifecta that paid 1,300 Hong Kong dollars, and I was so fired up. I'm like, yeah, boy, I'm the king of Hong Kong. And then I realized, it's like $130. I'm like, all right, that's better than zero for sure, but still, 1,300 looks a whole lot better than 130.
Yeah.
It's a lot better.
That would be nice. Yes. And the nice one, as we talked about before, for people who've not heard this, Hong Kong fields are always big.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the average is 11 horses per race or 12 horses per race. I mean, so there are a lot of betting opportunities here, and can be some big favorites, and then you can get some wild stuff happen.
I'm sure we're going to get at least one huge favorite in Hong Kong Mile, but we'll get to that in a minute. So we're going to start with the Hong Kong. Now, in England, it's the Vase. In Hong Kong, is it the Vase or is it the American Vase?
Well, remember, Hong Kong used to be an English colony.
Yes. So it's a Vase, huh?
Yeah, Vase.
All right. So this Hong Kong Vase, let me bring up this race. I got to find it real quick because I got everything out of order now. Hong Kong Mile, Hong Kong Cup. All right, so what the hell with it? Let me just press this button here. Hong Kong Vase. This is going to be this one, and then I'll get it all corrected in behind the scenes as well. So the Hong Kong Vase, Tom. This one is going to be, I think it is a mile and change. So the Hong Kong
mile and a half.
Mile and a half. All right. So I'm just completely off where I need to be screen-wise. You have an 8-horse field here, Tom. Mm-hmm. This one at a mile and a half. It looks like they run backwards over there. So
they do
counterclockwise
or
clockwise. Yes, clockwise. Yes. And so they're going to start and they're going to go and they're going to turn right. And it looks like they're going to make 2 turns to come back to the finish line. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a 2-turn race. So
Okay, perfect. So who do you like?
My top choice is the bottom horse, Ibarra. 10 starts, 4 wins, 3 seconds, and 1/3. She's always in the money at the distances of 2,200 meters or greater. She's a front runner, and really that's where she does her best work. She should be should cut the distance out of here. Her last race was at Deauville at 2,000 meters. She ran 6th to Grand Glory, and Grand Glory, pretty good mare. She ran 5th in the Japanese Cup just recently, so in the Japan Cup. So that's not slouch company. She's winner at Group 2 and Group 3 levels, but never over Group 1. But what's interesting here is this is the trainer is retiring, and Dupree, and this is his last horse running in a Group 1 race.
Oh,
so he's probably geared towards this a lot. I think he's 71 years old, so he's going to hang it up at the end of the year.
Is he going to be on track with his best suit?
I would bet I'd be very surprised if he isn't in Hong Kong. So she's good, and I mean she prefers the softer surface, so that'll be interesting to see how she handles. It's going to be it should be firm in Hong Kong. It's supposed to be 72 degrees, so I would say decent weather there. Not a big surprise. Her works have been steady, and they've all been on the all-weather. So she's been working at 7 furlongs or more for prep to this race. And just so people know, if you'll page up a little, the second item on there, it says,
track work
right there, and that will give you what the horses have been doing in terms of working and galloping and if they've been swimming. So you get some data on how they're working and what they're looking like according to. And they also note if they're in company. As an example, Aidan O'Brien has been working most of his horses in company with each other. So Bolshoi Valet, Mother Earth, and Mogul have been working together.
So yeah, there's a lot of information on this. It's the hkjc.com website, the Hong Kong Jockey Club. So if you're going to head on over there to the races and you're going to do these races on Saturday night, Sunday morning, make sure you use this site. It's a hell of a reference for the Hong Kong races.
And the
behind Ibarra, who do you like?
And the price is right.
That's great, right?
Yeah. So my next choice is Piledriver. 13 starts, 6 wins, 2 seconds, and 1/3. He's had 5 runs at distances of greater of 2,200 meters or more, and he's won 3 of them. He's a Group 1 winner at Epsom, and he was at 2,400 meters. He was top weight last time, and a big impost weight that he had to carry at Lingfield on the all-weather. They were prepping him for this, but they were also prepping him for the all-weather championships, which are going to be coming up soon. And that was a win at 2,000 meters. He's only had 3 runs this season. He's had some injuries issues, so I don't think they'd ship him to Hong Kong if they didn't think they had something sound. And certainly off that all-weather race, he looked very nice in that race. He's run on all kinds of surfaces, including the all-weather, and he's done well. So he had he had one blowout work on the all-weather that I thought was impressive. It was at 56-3, and that was on the 8th. And then he's worked longer, and he worked on been working on the turf. So fitness, he seems to be right there. So we'll see how well he can do. And one of the horses I think will be one of the favorites is Glory Vase, is my final choice. 16 starts, has 5 wins, 4 seconds, and 1/3. Won this race in 2019 with Joel Morello up, and he's back to ride the horse again. Had an awful draw in the race prior to this one, and 15, and but managed to run third. And in that race, Win Maryland and a couple others that ran in the Japan Cup, they didn't do anything in the Japan Cup. So it'll be interesting to see if this horse does a little better than that bunch. Has only one win at the Group 1 level, and that was at Châtain, because it was in the 2019 in this race. In its previous start, it ran a really nice second to Love's Only You in a Group 1. That was previous to the last start. And so it definitely facing some good horses. At the 2,200 meter or greater distance, it's got 3 wins from 8 tries. It prefers the firm going, and it'll definitely get that. And the one work of note I thought was the all-weather work of 35-4. So I thought that was a pretty good work.
Yeah, it's pretty good work. I don't see much difference between the 1 and the 2, Piledriver and Glory Vase. The only real difference being Glory Vase has a little bit more experience at the distance, but I just feel like Piledriver looks to me, second start off a layoff, should improve. Last time out was good, has some experience at the G1W, G1 winning level. So does Glory Vase. I mean, these horses are running in G1s, G2s all across. So both are experienced in big races. It just looks like the finishing place for Piledriver in these bigger races tends to be a little bit better than what we see out of Glory Vase. I like the 5 horse as my third choice, Mogul. Classic second start off a layoff. I'm expecting Mogul to make a big improvement for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. Maybe I'm a little bit stung by not betting them when they first came over here at Belmont. So, but it's usually a pretty good combination. And the horse has taken 2 trips across the distance and managed to find the winner's circle in both. And then I'm going to round mine out with the retiring trainer, Ibarra, who is, this is a horse that looks like it's on the improve. Last race was a little bit of a struggle, maybe a little bit of a step back. So I'm looking for a bounce back, and that's why I didn't have Ibarra rated any higher than where I had it rated 4th. Our next race on the list, Tom, is the Hong Kong Sprint, which is a sprint. It's 6 furlong race, right?
Yep.
And that one again starts on while my screen changes. It starts on the backstretch. So here, let me bring up the screen so you can see it starts on the backstretch, makes 1 turn, and then runs down looks like a long front stretch there, Tom.
Yeah, it is.
Finished right before the turn. So I'd imagine with a long front stretch like that, Hong Kong would, and I don't know, but you've watched more races than I have, but I would suspect that a long front stretch front stretch would equal closers do well.
Generally speaking, yes. There's always the exception, but generally you're going to want somebody who sits with some cover maybe, and then pops out and makes a big run. And they can come from anywhere, inside, outside, in the middle. I've seen some really incredible rides from some of these jockeys to get that horse into position to kick for home. And it can be very interesting at the wire, to say the least.
Well, that's what we're hoping, so we can get a $1,300 Hong Kong try.
Absolutely. And so I started out with a Resistance Hall. She's got 12 starts, 5 wins, 4 seconds, and a third. At 1,200 meters, she's got 3 starts, 1 win and 2 seconds. And these were at Group 1 and 2 levels. A strong second off her last time out in a Grade 1 and a Group 1, I should say, laid off the pace a bit. Generally, speed's been her game, so she wants to be out there and out front. I mean, she's got some great finishing kicks, and we're talking 107 for the finishing times. So they're moving.
Yeah, that's clicking along pretty fast. Those are almost Turf Paradise times.
Yep. The other thing to remember with her is because she gets 4 pounds from everybody else, being a female, and front runner, I think, always helps getting a little weight off. Christian Simeon has the ride, and this will be his first time up on the horse. So big thing here is he's got to get the horse over, and into position because she likes to be near the front. So it'll be interesting to see how well she does. She's won on both firm and yielding courses, so I don't think surface will be an issue for her at all. She's got some decent works. All weather works, 58 flat, 59 and 5 over the. And then they threw a longer work and over 7 furlong work into her to prep for this race. So they're looking to get some stamina out of her too. Mm-hmm. So I really like the way they set up this horse, and I think she's going to kick home very strongly.
She'll need to with that long front stretch for sure.
Oh yeah. Lucky Patch is my next choice. That's one of the local horses. 17 starts, 7 wins, 3 seconds, 3 thirds. He has 5 wins in Hong Kong. He was an import. Winners of his last 2 races in Group 2 company at this distance. Zach Pruitt returns, and he had the choice to ride Naboo Attack or this horse. So he must know something. Or he's a lot happier with that. And right now he's a very hot rider. I mean, he's top rider in Hong Kong right now. He's winning at a 23% clip with 52% in the money. So with placings. So I mean, that's strong.
Yeah.
Should sit mid pack. And when it hits the straight, it'll be within 3 lengths of the leader. That's its style, and it seems to do really well. It does prefers the good to firm going, and then it's got 1 turf work of 53 and 2, and then 3 works on the all weather, and the one I liked was the 56 and 4 work. So I think they're priming it. It's just a matter of is it got the ability, because there's some really tough Japanese horses in here. They're going to give everybody a run for their money, and I did pick one of those. So it's my Pixie Knight is my last one. 8 starts, 3 wins, 2 seconds, 1 third. It's finished in the money all the time in its 3 starts at this distance. He's won at Group 1 and Group 3 races. His Group 3 winner was at a 1600, so a little longer. The mile. Winner, he beat my top choice last out in Japan, and they reversed the time before. So another, I think he does from the form. I think he does his best work at this distance, and I think they've got him placed really in a good spot. And with that, I also looked at the works, and the works were over 7 furlongs. So again, I think the stamina piece is where they're looking to get this horse being in condition to run here, rather than blowing it out with the shorter, quicker works.
Well, your last pick, Tom, was my first pick, Pixie Knight. I also have Resistencia as my 4th choice, but when these two, as you mentioned, when they headed up, Pixie Knight got the better of them last time out, and this will be the 3rd start off a layoff. And looking back at the previous 2 3-race cycles for Pixie Knight, the 3rd run was the best of all of them. Like you, I also have Lucky Patch in there. That one is my 2nd choice. Again, you're looking at I looked at the jockey combination. I looked at the fact that the horse has run very well too against many of these horses. In fact, Lucky Patch has faced, if you look through it, a lot of horses in this field already and gotten the better of them. So I like Lucky Patch. I also do like Naboo Attack, who finished 2nd behind Lucky Patch last time out. And as I mentioned, my 4th pick is Resistencia. So that's how I ranked them: 2, 5, 8, and 12. And oddly, in my first 2 picks, first 2 races, all my selections have gone in numerical order: 1, 2, 5, 8, 2, 5, 8, 12.
You're repeating from last night.
Yeah, I don't know. But last night they were like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. So they were they were in order. But that was a good show too last night with John Dooley from Fairgrounds. So if you're going to do any wagering over at Fairgrounds for the Louisiana Day Championship races, make sure you head over to horseracingtoday.net. We've posted our picks. We've posted the video over there as well. You can also find it on Horse Racing today, or Horse Racing Radar TV on YouTube, where we are now, or at Facebook at Horse Racing Today, with the 2 being the number 2. Same place at Twitter. The next race up on the docket is race number 7 in Hong Kong. Tom, that is adequately named as it's on the screen, the Hong Kong Mile. And I suspect that they'll be running 1 mile. And if we look at this is a, like Churchill Downs, it is or Belmont, or some of the longer tracks in the United States. It's a 1-turn, 1 mile race. So really kind of think of it more, a lot of times 1-turn routes really run a little bit more like 1-turn sprints that are just a little bit longer. Is the 1-turn route at Hong Kong a similar thing as it is here? So kind of grade it more like a sprint than a route?
At Shot-10, yes, definitely. You look at Churchill, or as you said, Belmont. It's similar to those. Of course, this is a turf race. I would probably equate it more with Belmont and the way they run their races at a mile on the turf courses there. Churchill, of course, can't do that because they're a tighter course. So there are some similarities, but of course we've got one horse in here who's really outstanding.
Unsimilar to anything else. If you look, you could. So if you had to guess which one that was, would it be this one with the 7, 29514? This is its placings: 383, 6. Oh, wait a minute. What's this one? 1111111. That's not meaning it's a speed horse. It just means that's where it's finished in its last 6 races. And I think it's 19 races or something.
Yeah, 19 races, 18 wins, and is running on a 16-win streak right now. And Golden 60 is a top horse, to say the least, in Hong Kong. If not, he also has a world rating, so he's right up there with the best, especially at this distance. But he's run at 1,200 to 2,000 meters and won. So it's so he's not just a miler horse, even though he probably in Europe that's what they would probably leave him at. But he's won at longer distances and he's won at shorter distances. So he won this race last year. He's going to sit mid pack, and when he makes his move, he is instead of slowing down, he's picking up pace. And really picking up pace, and his pace numbers, if you take a look at them, are really impressive. Heat up, you almost have to say he's a freak, because there are not many horses like this. He is bred in the U.S., Mago de Oro, and so it's a nice sire who's thrown some really good milers, and certainly this one is probably one of the best.
Yeah, 7 for 7. So kind of hard to argue.
Yeah. So the thing of note, the works that are posted are average. There's nothing outstanding in the bunch, but that appears to be the normal pattern for this horse. I think the competitor is at number 2, Danon Knightley. It's a Japanese horse. 13 starts, 6 wins, 2 seconds, and 2/3. They've generally spaced the races for this horse pretty far apart.
Looks like a kind of small horse though, 994 pounds.
Yeah, it's not an overwhelmingly big horse, to say the least. But when it comes off a layoff, has 9 runs coming off a layoff and won 5 times. So obviously they know what they're doing. Only won once in Japan. In a Group 1 level, that was at 1,600 meters at Tokyo in June. Both races this year have been good. Finished second last time out at an 1,800 meter race. Again, one of these ones, I think the mile is the better distance. And he wins, and he did a 1 minute 31 seconds 0.7 mile. That's pretty good.
That's fast.
Yeah, that's not bad. And also they did go the blowout route on the all weather for fitness, and 35-1 and a 32-8. So, yeah, this is
that's quick.
this is a quick horse.
Uh-huh. Well, light too. So
Yeah. So, if there's any threat, I think that if there's any threat to this horse, I think it is the number 2 to the on the 1. At least that's the way it comes up on mine. I do want to point out in the last 19 runnings of this race, only once has a Hong Kong foreign horse won. So Hong Kong have dominated the mile, which I find very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So they have 18 wins, and Golden 60's already won it once. My final one's a bit of a long shot. It's Excellent Proposal. It's trained by John Size, one of the top trainers in Hong Kong. Got 14 starts, 7 wins, and 2 seconds. It first raced in Australia and won 3 races there before coming to Hong Kong. It's mainly been at the lesser level in terms of not racing in group races, but it's facing group winners in those handicaps. So these are class 1 handicaps. Obviously there's good money in those races, so that's why they're running it. So this is a step up on paper, but in reality, I don't think it's that much of a step up because it's been facing some of these kind of horses. At this distance, it's got 3 runs, 1 win, and 2 seconds. He is a late runner. So if there's good pace up front, which I think there will be, you can see this horse coming very strongly at the end. Likes the track, good to firm. So no problem that area. His works lately have been on the all weather, and they've generally been pretty fast. And there's 4 works in there, so they're very steady, consistent. So we'll see if this horse can get a piece of this.
Yes, indeed. I have that as my 4th pick. So Excellent Proposal. But my first pick, just like everybody else on the planet, it's going to be Golden 60. A horse that's won out of 18 out of 18. I mean, 18 out of 19, 16 in a row. It's kind of difficult to say no to that one. I skipped a horse. I jumped over your Dan and Knightley, Tom, and I went to Indy Champ. It's a horse that's making its second start off a layoff. Run at the distance 15 times, has 7 wins. And if you look back over its history, that second race is usually better than the first one. So that last one wasn't all that bad. I expect to see some improvement from Indy Champ. And if Indy Champ does improve, maybe that's the one that can run down Golden 60. I have the Moore O'Brien combination with my 3rd pick, Mother Earth. That's a horse that I expect is going to do pretty well too. It's kind of run a lot of races that in a row without a break. Kind of didn't have a good run last time. In fact, I had a horrible run last time. It's run at the mile. Last couple times at the distance, winning a second. Runs well on good or off, but mostly a little bit better on softer track. I feel like there's no way Aidan O'Brien's going to take the horse all the way to Hong Kong if he feels like it doesn't have a chance. And then, as I mentioned, I'm closing it out with your long shot as well as my long shot, An Excellent Proposal. And when you look at Excellent Proposal's line here, you'll see, 11, 1, 4, 4, 5, 2. So it looks to me like the horse has kind of got that trend upwards, which is what I like to see in a horse's performance coming into a big race. That maybe this is the one that they earmarked for this horse. And every trainer we've talked to said that they target specific races, and as they target them, they'll enter races. They want to win them, obviously, but it's not the number one. I mean, it has to be the number one goal.
But in some cases they're looking to see what the fitness. Some of these horses are not completely fit yet. Right. And usually some ways to do it is to get a race in and see where they are. And then you can do some measuring and figure out where you want to go next. If the target is X, and how are you going to get there? And, in some cases, works are more importantly for some horses. Some of it's just what they run on. When we see that turf to dirt switch, you never know. Why are they doing that? And so they must, use the turf race as a prep for the next possibility. So,
give them a little bit more endurance.
My issue, remember, Mother Earth is getting weight from these horses, so that's important to notice. My issue with her was simply she has 2 Group 1 wins. She's only run in Group 1 races this year. She has 2 wins, but she's not really handled turns that well. And she ran well in the juvenile at Keeneland, but again, she had that turn and she didn't win. And again in this year in Del Mar, that turn. Where there's been more straight miles or straight, those kind of races, I think she's a much more competitive horse.
Hopefully she can handle one turn. This one coming up, the Hong Kong Cup, is going to be 2 turns, but it's more than one trip around the track. It's one and looks like maybe an eighth, a little bit extra on the end of the race. You can see here, they start here, go around, they come back past where they start, and then they finish right before the first turn again. So this one is, what is this one? Is a mile and how long is this race, Tom?
2,000 meters. So
2,000 meters.
Mile and a quarter.
Mile and a quarter race.
Yeah,
1 1/4 miles. Yep. I got a question for you. In my sheets, it says apprentices can or apprentices cannot claim. What does that mean? So, like, you can claim these horses?
You're claiming, no, it's the weight. Apprentices get the weight. Their weights is a little different, done a little differently than ours is. And also when you hit a certain point, and number of wins is when you lose that apprentice allowance, where ours is done in the more of the yearly. The first 2, the 10 pounds and 7, you get off. Then when you get to hit that 5 number, that can you can have that apprentice for a year. Where in Hong Kong and other places in the world, they give you that advantage on the weights, but once you win, you lose it.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. Give you your money and then say, okay, now you got to compete in the fair world. So this longer race, Tom, what horse do you think is going to handle all this distance?
Well, go all the way to the bottom.
All the way to the bottom. Tom's going with the long shot here. Well, I don't know if it's a long shot, but
no, it's not a long shot. Loves Only You. Kind of hard to pass on her. Excellent race in the Breeders' Cup. And she was decently bet, paid okay. I mean, she went off at 5 to 1 in the Breeders' Cup, but she looked much the best over that field. And her record is 17 starts, 7 wins, 2 seconds, and 3/3. She won the QE2 in Hong Kong. She's raced in Dubai. She's raced obviously in Japan. She's faced Glory Vase, Mistress, Sodashi, Stay Foolish. These are all really, really good horses. And, and last year she beat Lucky Lilac, which was one of the top horses in Hong Kong last year. So no problems with the distance. She's either she's run 4 times at this distance, won twice, and finished second twice. She definitely wants firm ground, and she's gonna get that. And her works are good. Nothing spectacular. They were all in the all-weather, and based on her Breeders' Cup form, she's holding that. She should be very competitive in this race. The next horse I picked is a Japanese horse, Le Papel. She has 9 starts, 6 wins, and a 1/3. She's 2 for 2 at this distance. She ran in the QE2, which is in Henshin, last time out. And that race was a strange race to say the least. The way it was run, and then of course the winner was 96 to 1 or something like that.
I remember that race.
The first 3 placings were all big long shots. I think the lowest one was 40 to 1. So that was kind of a freakish race, but it ran okay. I mean, it ran well enough. I mean, but it didn't win, of course. It's a good 4th to win Maryland in the race prior to that. Christian Simeon has the mount, and because the normal jockey is riding this horse called Loves Only You, So
Ah,
I wonder why he would not ride this one. Well, but Christian Simeone is no slouch.
made
Uh,
his choice.
yeah. This horse likes any type of going and has one on it. Got two turf works in there. One was at 33 flat, one at 56 and 6. The final work was on the all weather, and it was a little slower. So again, getting what they need out of the horse, getting it ready. My final choice is Dubai Honor. It has 9 starts, 4 wins, and 2 seconds. To say that it was not a great 2-year-old would be accurate. It was okay, nothing special. Didn't race any group races, anything of that. And then they brought it out, and it wins a handicap, some group 2 races. Ran second in a Group 1 on Champions Day at Ascot and lost to Sealaway, and it was within a length of that group. It didn't have a great draw in that race either, so that didn't help it any. Again, this is another one that likes all kinds of going. Marquette this is his only ride in the big races, so he has this mount. And coming into this race, there's 2 works, one on the turf and 1 work on the all weather, and they all look pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I like the same 3 horses. I just don't have them in your order or in my top pick. I have the 4 horse as my top selection. Hishi Iguzawa. I'm going to go with that. That's probably the worst pronunciation ever. But it's a horse that's making its second start off a layoff. It's won 3 or 4 at the distance. And it was running on allowance races. Then it moved up to a Group 3, won that, moved up to a Group 2, won that, took some time off, and then headed to a Group 1, and it finished. And they got a little bit of a softer surface in that race and finished 5th. So this time around, go back to a firmer surface. I expect that you'll see the horse that's done well on a firm surface improve in race number 2, as it has done in its previous 3 2-race cycles. And then after that, I do have Dubai, the 8 horse, Dubai Honor. And then I have Love's Only You as my 3rd choice. And I finished it off with Le Pepele. I guess I'll go with that. I don't know if that's exactly right or not, but maybe you can pronounce that one for me, Tom.
Well, I picked it second, so I'll go with your pronunciation. So.
All right, perfect. So that ranks up our Hong Kong races, the 4 races. Again, they start about 1:00 in the morning on Saturday, going into Sunday. For those on the East Coast, midnight for those in the Central Time Zone on Saturday, about 11 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. On the Pacific West Coast. So if you're up a little bit late, got the insomnia racing, like Tom calls it. Hong Kong's got some big insomnia. Maybe it's even worth staying up for.
Yeah, these are going to be good races. There's no question about that. And also should point out the rest of the card is pretty strong too. So if you want to try your hand at trying handicapping Hong Kong races, it certainly is a challenge. I know it is for me. But there's some nice ways to play, and there's a lot of options in how you can play them.
Yeah, it's a 10-race card. It's a 10-race card, and we started in race number 4 with the first race, the Hong Kong Vase. So there'll be 3 races before that. So you got to figure they'll probably start around maybe about 10:30 our time, 11:30.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Roughly. So yeah. So if you're up at that time and you've made some money on college football, well, the Army-Navy game, I think that's all there is this weekend. I'm not 100% sure, but if you made a few bucks on that and you want to throw it on some horses, or you made some money on our picks at Fairgrounds, you might want to go right on to Hong Kong. So again, you can catch that Fairgrounds show over at horseracingtoday.net. Terry's best bet of the day. Every day we do a daily show too, where we pick a pick 4, do a box it up, all sorts of horse racing stuff going on over there. Good Q&A with the track announcer, John Dooley. Nice article about Jockey Vargas that Sean wrote up. So make sure you check out all that stuff. Any final parting thoughts, Tom, before we get up and out of here?
The only comment I have is in some of these races, we've ignored the Hong Kong runners, and that may come back to bite us.
Yeah, it could. Indeed. I just was kind of going through them, looking at the track record, at the distance and surface and all that kind of stuff, and what their recent form looks like. And well, hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us. Stuff.
Well, Golden 60 is a Hong Kong runner, so
Yeah, but everybody's going to have that one, Tom.
If you don't, you got to have it somewhere. If it finishes out of the money, I'd be very surprised.
I'd be shocked too.
I would be even more shocked if it loses, because it's quite something.
Well, kind of from a betting perspective, you want to beat him though, because you know he's going to be a really heavy favorite.
Oh, definitely. You want some of those. You want some big numbers, but that one's tough.
Well, you want the superfecta with that horse fourth, so that your trifecta pays a big amount as well. So you got to try to go with it.
Yeah, well, and we should point out these races are I think a little over $3 million per race, so they're U.S. dollars. So these are not. It's not lightweight in terms of some of these races. So you can certainly understand why you targeted the mile or some of these other races as a potential running, besides being a Group 1.
Yeah, and it's going to be good for bettors too, because usually the big money races like that draw in the good horses usually draw in good money pools too. And the better the money pool, the better the payout is going to be. If you like what you saw here or anything that we do here at Horse Racing Today, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on YouTube at Horse Racing Radar TV. You can also follow us, as you see on the scroller below, at Horse Racing, the number 2. So Horse Racing 2 Day on Facebook and Twitter. Those are our handles. As always, Tom, my pleasure working with you on Fridays. Look forward to being up late tomorrow night to watch some of these Hong Kong races, hopefully to cash in, and to find our picks, Tom, in all places, the winner's circle. Tom and I will be back next week. What are we going to talk about next week, Tom?
I have no idea. I haven't looked at the cards yet.
All right. Well, that was a hell of a tease.
I mean, if we really want to be crazy, we'll go with some of the jumpers.
Oh, no. Hell no.
Well, it's jump season in England, so in Ireland too, for that matter. But so the top racing, but we got to wait.
We can do Australia. It's summer down there.
Yeah, it's summer. Oh, definitely summer. And probably Australia may probably be the best choice. I would be very surprised if there's some top racing there, and see some of the better ones running out there.
Especially as we run into holiday season, I imagine you might see some good racing to keep the people entertained in their homes under lockdown in Australia.
Well, and Dubai races on Thursday nights there,
so we're kind of busy on Thursday.
It's kind of hard for us to do Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
We have to wait till they start having the weekend.
Well, I look forward to that for sure. And as always, I look forward to being back next week. Terry and I will be here tomorrow for the Oaklawn. So join us tomorrow. If you're going to play any Oaklawn races, we're going to handicap every single race, run down every single horse, have all the track biases, all the information you need to make decisions, hopefully winning bets. And then Terry and I will be back on Monday for the Horse Racing Today show. Not quite sure which track we'll do, but it'll probably be either Mahoning Valley or Parks, where we hit up that pick 4. Until then, Tom, until we see you again, as always, folks, hope to see all your picks in the winner's circle. Have a fantastic weekend.
And